Hello and welcome to DDOcast, episode 280, recorded live on Sunday, April 28th, 2013 at 4 p.m. Pacific Time. We like to talk about Dungeons & Dragons Online each 4 p.m. each Sunday. You can join us and chat live through G+ Hangouts or from our website at DDOcast.com. Thanks to the mighty Sub-Ears for hosting our audio files. I am your host, Siegfried Trent. With us is lovely producer and wife, Anne Trent. Hi, darling.
Hello, DDO world. How's it going?
And from DDOgamer.com, we have Jeff Hanna.
Good evening, or morning, or afternoon, as may be appropriate.
We are on the internet in a discarnate state where time is meaningless. And from the land of epic education, we have Shamgar.
Hello, welcome to DDOcast.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. So what do we got on the podcast this week? We've got gaming news. We discuss apologies. We discuss new enhancements. We talk about stuff on DDO Gamer and all kinds of other good things. So let us get started with the game news of the week. Not a whole lot of that shaking around. Mostly kind of not so happy things. We've had account issues this week, lots of them. For some reason, the billing system seems to have gone berserk in various ways. A number of users got charged 100 or more times for their DDO subscription. Some of them also got their DDO points for the week applied hundreds of times. And all kinds of other shenanigans that made it out to MMORG and some of the other news sites and stuff. So not a good week for Turbine and public relations in that regard. Many users were also having a hard time logging in this week, couldn't get into the servers, couldn't play. And a number of users had their subscriptions break in other and various interesting ways, such that they were no longer VIPs, which in fact happened to me. When we were logging in to do a little recording that Jeff, Ann, and I were trying to make, I was like, hey, you're a premium player. Like, hey, no, I'm not. What's going on? And I don't know, logged into my account, and the credit card they had on file for me, not any credit card that I own. Don't know what was going on at all. Had to enter in new information and update my subscription. So strange stuff going on with the billing server. Definitely pretty weird. Certainly not everybody had issues like this. Anne didn't have anything, and plenty of people didn't. But enough did that folks were definitely not happy. They took down the servers on Saturday morning from 5 a.m. to 7, although apparently it took a little bit longer than that. Turbine reports that all the accounts that were overcharged have had those charges removed, and the affected people will get a free month of VIP subscription. I have not looked into mine to see if I got kind of overcharged because I had to resub or whatever, but not sure. I'll figure it out. Anyways, I don't usually care all that much, but as long as I have my sweet feed to DDO, which I did. I don't know. I changed my account information, and I was back up and running pretty much right away. We've got some more downtime coming. We've got scheduled maintenance on Monday from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m., an unusual kind of middle of the day downtime. According to Cordovan, the purpose of this will be for something that they're going to discuss later in the week. Although also probably has something to do with the forums and all that, which have been extended life until the 29th. So, once again, things you post on there right now won't stick around. But my DDO is still up until Monday, probably when this downtime happens. And then projected shall go away. They're going to extend the 15% Heroic XP bonus days action through Monday as well. So we will see how things shake out when that comes back up. I believe they've had about 5 downtimes in the last 10 days or so, or at least that's what people on the forums were quoting. So there were a lot of not terrifyingly happy folk out there. Both because they couldn't log in to play, or the servers were down, or problems with accounts, so on and so forth. However, in happy news, week 3 of the Labani enhancement previews continues, and now all the class enhancements are available for you to check out, and all the race enhancements, at least all the ones that they've got fleshed out. So kind of fun to log in there and play around with your characters, or at least I found it a lot of fun. And DDO Steward news for the week. SJF02 gets you a small jewel of fortune. Cosmetic armor and hats are 20% off, and all augments and augment tools are also 20% off. So that's kind of the news for the week. Why don't we talk a little bit about the Lamani enhancements? I don't know if you guys have gone and checked out any of the new ones or not. I will ask around. Shamgar, have you been over there at all?
I haven't been on Lamania, but I looked at the Bard, some of the Bard stuff online. The Spellslinger stuff looks good. It's going to be fun to play with, but I haven't looked at any other new stuff.
I read in passing, I haven't looked at those in detail, but I read in passing that they get Wail of the Banshee somewhere in their list.
Yeah, there's an enhancement that gives them currently, subject to many revisions, we're sure.
Yeah.
Adds Heal and Wail of the Banshee as level 6 spells.
Neat.
So that could be kind of interesting. The Heal spell is good. I think every bard will enjoy that very much.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not so sure how effective Wail of the Banshee is going to be, because it's not the right school for bards. So most of their bardic abilities will probably be in the wrong school. You're probably not much of a DC caster anyways, so how effective is a DC spell going to be? But at the same time, you get a level drain if they save, so you know.
Yeah, that's not bad at all for their other control spells. So, yeah, I think it'll be okay. I mean, I have a sorcerer with Wail of the Banshee that's not in any way spec'd for it. Just happens to be one of the better spells at that level, and so I throw it out there, and sometimes it just woo-woos things, but occasionally they drop over dead. So,
yeah, I think it's going to be one of those things where I don't think anyone's ever going to take it for Wail of the Banshee, just because they're going to take it for heal.
Oh, it gets them both.
Taking that. Yeah, it looked like it was the same enhancement for both spells. So they're all going to take it for heal.
Absolutely.
That's going to be awesome for those kind of bards. And then the Wail of the Banshee is just going to be this bonus thing that you may or may not use. Keep in mind, though, that they're added to. It sounds like it's going to get added to the spell book, so you have to memorize it. So you have to free up some spell slots. So that's going to be a consideration.
Yeah, that'll be a good one for my bard, though. He doesn't really do anything terrifyingly useful except cast some support spells, so he'll be really nice for him.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what the other level 6 spells are. Irresistible Dance is kind of the only one.
Yeah, that's the only staple I can think of.
I can't remember if the Dancing Sphere is 5 or 6.
It's 5, I believe.
Is it 5?
It might be 4, but you get that one.
I don't think they're the same level, so that would make sense.
Yeah. Cool. Have you checked it out at all, Jeff?
I did the first week, but I haven't been able to get over there this week at all. It's been a very full week. I've had a lot of things going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. I got over there. I logged in my character, Seablade, who's sort of my main, more or less. He's a healing amp, paladin, monk, fighter. Although the version on Lamania is a little out of date for the one I LR'd him since then. He's got a little bit of a different class split. But I was pretty pleased. I like the paladin lines quite a bit. There's a defender-based line that has a lot of PRR available in it and aggro, that sort of thing. And then they more or less sort of munged together the Hunter of the Dead and the Chalice into one line that has the smiting and healing amplification and other stuff. So that one was pretty much perfect for my character because he mostly does smiting and healing amplification. He's about DPS and self-healing. So that line was really fantastic for me, and I'm able to actually get more healing amp on my character than I could before. So he's looking pretty good. I like the paladin options pretty well. That they've got one solid DPS line and one solid defensive line. So that's pretty nice, since those are the things you like out of that class. And the offensive side just seemed better and more available than what we had before. So I was pretty pleased with that. The monk stuff looks really good too. I didn't get really deep into it, but there seemed to be a lot of pretty neat stuff in the monk lines as well. So I thought both of those classes look good. I haven't tried out Barbarian or Bard yet, but I've got a Barbarian, so I'm going to see what he can do with him. I'm pretty excited about the enhancements. I know Anne's kind of neutral on them, but I don't know. It's just like an opportunity. I get to build new characters with all my characters. So when that comes out, I'll spend like 2 days just doing nothing but logging in characters and fiddling around with those. So
I bet you spend more than 2 days.
You're probably right. Yeah, yeah. I'll spend 2 days doing the rough.
He'll spend 2 days and not sleep.
Well, no.
I still don't think that's going to be enough time, because you've got what, 30 characters?
I do, yeah, 30 characters. A lot of them are level 7.
You have to rebuild entirely the enhancement systems for all of them.
Yeah.
And then you have to like tinker with them and figure out which ones you really want and all that stuff. So
yeah, and then I have to change the gear a little, right? You know, because they have a little bit of a different focus. Oh, it'll be great. Sometimes I have more fun with that than I do playing. It's just my thing.
I think so far I'm a little more excited about some more of the melee classes. I haven't really seen anything in the healing or arcane casting side other than Bard that's really exciting, but pretty much everything else looks pretty solid. Pretty
yeah, I agree
interesting.
with that. Wizard seems alright. I didn't check out the sorcerer ones. Yeah, the 2 divine classes. Yeah, not a lot of excitement there. But
yeah, I think the spellcasting ones are going to be the ones we're going to have to really tweak and try and figure out, because a lot of their enhancements were, one, they weren't really fully developed anyways, other than Wizard maybe, which sounds like it's going to be more or less the same.
Yeah.
But the healing ones never really got fleshed out. And there's the whole thing with spell power and spell crit stuff that I think is missing from all of them.
Yeah.
So they still got to figure all that stuff out. But a lot of the melee stuff, they were kind of almost underpowered in terms of the number of enhancements they had. So you can see a lot more new abilities, new things out of those lines than the casting lines.
Yeah. I'll also say there are a few enhancements still in the current trees that you look at and you're like, yeah, +1 to heal and +1 to intimidate. I guess that's okay. But all the other stuff is so much more sexy than that. I just don't see taking that ever. So, yeah, some of the skill ones I think are still a little unexciting. But other than that, pretty cool. I
there
noticed
still
a lot of
skill
people
boosts in there?
Are there skill? Yeah, there's still skill boosts.
Well, not the action enhancement boost one that is a timer thing, but the skill +1s to skills. Are those still in there?
Yeah, there's still a few in there. They bundle them. Pardon me. They bundle them up, and they tend to be down at the bottom of the tree. So sometimes you end up picking them just because you're like, I need 5 things to pick the next rank of stuff. But yeah, there's still a few of them scattered around. Like I said, Monk or Paladin had one that was Intim plus heal, I think. It was kind of like, which I guess is all right. I mean, it adds to your spell power. It's 1% or something, but it just didn't seem very exciting to me. Compared to, I don't know, all the other stuff just seemed a lot more kind of cool and sexy. Now, I guess, the only characters I ever really am interested in skill is if it's UMD or if it's a rogue, and my rogue doesn't really have a high intelligence, so I want to boost up his trapping skills just a little bit with the boosts. I'll do that sometimes, but that's about it. Most other skills just aren't that critical. So
there's a bunch that are required currently for certain, usually the prestige enhancement trees.
Right. On the plus side, we don't have that so much. The requirements on most of the trees, to me, are things you'd probably want anyway. There's not a lot of times where you're like, well, I guess I have to take this if I want to get that. There's a couple, but like in the wizards where you have to take the wand heightening before you can get the wand mastery, which is pretty lame. But cleric has the nice sweet, hey, you take wand mastery, you get, or you take wand heightening, you get, or no, the other way around. You get them both in one enhancement, which is like, okay, great. I'll take the wand mastery if it's free. I have to pay for it. I don't know.
The racial enhancements are not like that, though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends. They're a little weird. I haven't tried a lot of those. The human one I kind of like because if you're an action boost character, you can add to a stat. So getting +3 strength when you fire off an action haste boost or something, that's pretty nice. I like that, but it kind of depends. The human's the only one so far that I've really liked. One of the other characters I tried, and I was just like, I don't want anything from this racial tree. There's just nothing good in there for me. But if I were a different type of character, it probably would be. Oh yeah, it was my elven cleric. The elf stuff is almost all about like 2-weapon fighting, or it was a drow cleric and a bunch of other things. There was nothing in there useful for a typical cleric. So, but
is there anything useful in drow currently for a drow cleric?
Yes. It wasn't a downgrade, that's for sure. Yeah. No, it was not a disappointment. It was just kind of one of those, oh, well, I guess if I wanted to make a drow cleric, it should really be a rapier 2-weapon fighting battle cleric. And then there'd be all kinds of great enhancements here for it. But as it is, my clonk, a clonk drow, there was nothing to really advertise for it anyway, but still.
I still think the suggestion that you came up with last time where points spent in class-based trees should apply towards prerequisites on racial-based trees. I think that's the right suggestion.
It'd be kind of nice, yeah.
Yeah, if you could cherry pick, a handful of things from the racial like you can now, then you'd still get advantage to it. And I think that'd be a plus.
Yeah, that's true. The lowering of the overall point cost definitely helped a bit. That made it feel a little bit more freer than it was. So, But I'm happy. A lot of my characters, I was like, wow, I wish I had more enhancement points, and that's how you should feel if the system is working right. You're like, man, I want everything, but I can't. I got to pick. So I think that's where you really want to be with this kind of a thing.
On new enhancements, I know that they were thinking about releasing new enhancement lines for classes and for races in addition to doing a remake. Did anything was anything like that?
That's a good question. If anything, there might be a bit of a reduction in the number of them, because I think each class has 2 currently, and some of the classes currently have 3. Except, well, I think do Sorks have like 4, or do they just have? I don't know. I haven't looked at the sorcerers yet.
Well, and speaking of what Ann said, they did at one point say that they were going to give each race a specific associated class in the same way that elves can be arcane archers. But I haven't seen evidence of that yet.
Yeah, only a little bit. I know halflings are supposed to be assassins, and I think the drow are supposed to get tempest or something. But yeah, I'm not sure how many of those have been installed and activated. The only one I saw for sure was the elves.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you did see that. Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. The elf definitely gets the option to do arcane. You have to spend some points to get access to it. So it's sort of like if you get this box, then you can open up that tree. So that seems to be how they have it set up.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the other thing I wanted to talk about a little bit was about all this account silliness. And the main thing really that I was interested in, the moment I saw it, I was like, oh, geez. And I went to look and see what Turbine had to say about it. And Cordovan posted a link to a guy by the name of Carpe Noctum, who I'd never heard of before, but his title's a customer service representative. And he posted in the account forum page, and it said, earlier this week, Turbine's billing system charged some players multiple times for their VIP subscription fee. As soon as Turbine was made aware of this issue, an investigation was started to get it fixed as soon as possible. At the time of all the additional incorrect charges have been returned to their affected players. If this happened to you, there is no need to contact us, as the refund will appear automatically within the next few business days. As compensation for this issue, Turbine is granting a free month VIP access to all affected players. These extensions will not have not yet been granted, but will be within the next month. And then a little while later, not when I read it, when I first read it, that was pretty much the whole message. A little while later, they put on the end, we are very sorry for this occurrence and appreciate your patience as we work to resolve it. If you have any questions or concerns related to this or any other account support inquiry, please feel free to call or submit a ticket using the information in my signature. And, I have to say that's definitely an improvement to put that on the end. But when I first read it, like I said, that wasn't there. And so the whole thing came off as a kind of like, yes, there was a mistake, and we took care of it as fast as anybody ever could. And, don't call us, we'll call you. We've got it all under control. Thanks. And, it's kind of buried in a forum somewhere by a guy that we don't really know very well. And so the whole thing came off kind of as a, I don't know, it wasn't rude or bad in any way. It just didn't really give anybody a sense of comfort or confidence, right? And normally I would expect to see that last paragraph that they added on later as the opening paragraph, right? Just saying, hey, we're sorry, and there was a problem here. We're going to work real hard. If there's anything we can do for you, let us know, and so on and so forth. And as an example of that, I've been playing a little bit of Defiance, which is a game by Triton. And they had an opening weekend, and like every opening weekend with an MMO, it was a bit of a rough start. There was some downtime, and people had trouble logging in, all that kind of good stuff that you expect with MMOs opening, really. But they sent an email to every player, and this is what it read. And I thought this was just a much better example of how you handle these kinds of situations. It said, let's face it, launch had issues. For those, we sincerely apologize. In an effort to make amends and say thanks for going through this with us, your in-game account has been granted a gift from us to you. Exclusive launch only, in-game title, Daredevil, a week of weapons, boost, skill boost, script boost, loot boost, XP boost, some other stuff. Meanwhile, we've been working around the clock to deliver a gaming experience that exceeds your expectations. We've made great improvements. There's a massive client patch coming next week, and then another 2 weeks after that. Yes, We're serious about improvements, continuous evolution, updates, new content. We're not afraid of commitment, and we're in this for the very long haul. Thank you, Nathan Over Richardson, VP of Development, Executive Producer, and proud member of the 150-person Defiance team. Right, and to me, I didn't actually experience any problems when I played it, but I didn't play it all that long. That was a great message, right? It says, we made a mistake, we're sorry for it, here's what we're giving you. Oh, and by the way, we're really trying to go forward and do the best we can for you. And then, it's by pretty much the head of the team, the executive producer and VP of development. So, and they send it to every player, front and center, even the people who didn't know that there were any kind of problems. And I was like, wow, that's really classy, makes me feel good about this team. And then it even had some links to their developer blogs. And then developer blogs, they talk about specific problems they're having, memory issues, and this and that and the other thing, and just kind of give players a real sense of what's going on and what they're doing to fix things and deal with stuff. So I thought they had an excellent approach to communicating with the players. That Turbine, while being very friendly and definitely liking their fans a lot, for some reason just doesn't have that instinct to come out and say, we're really sorry, we didn't want that to happen, and here's what we're going to do to fix it. It's always kind of closed. People can be very concerned, and there's a lot of silence. Like the other thing that people are really concerned about lately, on the forums at any rate, were the account changes to the forum website and how that's going to be linked directly to the same one that you log into the game. And people were concerned about the security for that. And this kind of snafu only basically confirmed the fears that people had in many ways. And I don't know that the two things have anything to do with each other. Knowing computer programs, they may not. But Turbine didn't say anything to say, no, we have all kinds of security in place, and we're very careful about your accounts. In fact, this change might heighten security, or nothing. They just kind of ignored the concerns. And then when things actually did go bad with the billing, they had a kind of tepid response to that too. I think they realized that, and they ramped up their game a little bit. But I don't know. I was kind of disappointed just because I like Turbine so much, and I like playing DDO a lot. So I want the players to feel good about what they're doing. I hate to see folks scrambling too much. Can't make everybody happy, but I don't know. You guys have any thoughts on this? Oh, we can't hear you, Jeff.
The part that would have frosted me a little bit is that you'll get a refund in the next few days ish, and if it was my $1,500, I'm not. Sometimes I'm in better positions than others, but that could be days I don't get to go to work because I can't put gas in my tank, and I wouldn't want to hear something like, well, there'll be a refund in the next few days. Now, in fairness, at the same time that we were reading that, Tolero was doing much better and more specific damage control. So she was calling out, hey, we're working with, if you've got bank charges because of this, we're working with these people, and there was 20 of them, just so you know. Right, and I thought, yeah. So I don't think there's a fault on behalf of the people, but I see your point about sort of an attitude that's of the company wide, and maybe that company is Warner Brothers and not. And am I still there?
Oh yeah, you're still here.
Okay, something's clicking at me.
We just had a clone of. A clone of Shamgar come on the show. Not sure what's up with that. But.
I distract easily. I can't handle random clickings. So anyway, I think that perhaps the corporate response, well, for sure, it left a lot to be desired. But the individual people's response, I thought, was fast and on target and appropriate.
Yeah, I never get the feeling that anybody at Turbine is rude or dismissive, but I do often get the feeling that there's some sort of corporate policy that says, look, we don't apologize for things, or we don't, or at least not initially. Our first response is to I can understand wanting to gather accurate information before you make a response, but you also want to get right out there and say, we understand your concerns, and we're concerned too, right? And also, you might say, well, only 20 people were affected, and I agree, that's not a whole lot, but if that's the case, they could have done something generous for them. It's like, yeah, we went and raided your bank account for $150 or $1,500. We'll give you a $15 a month subscription. That's a pretty tepid apology. considering the scale. Now, if they had done that to 5,000 people, I'd be like, yeah, well, Turbine might not be able to afford to give 15,000 people something very nice. But if only 20 people are affected, you should give them something to say, look, we're sorry, that's terrible. Here's something from the largesse of our company to say, this is not the kind of screw up that we find acceptable at all.
I agree. I've been a supervisor in various positions my whole career, and the very first lesson I learned is you never screw with somebody's paycheck because they leave.
Yeah.
And you can't screw with somebody's bank account. You just can't.
Yeah, it's kind of a harsh thing. And like I said, I don't know what happened with my account. It was weird. I'd never seen that credit card number before. And being a database person, that makes me think, wow, did they scramble the pointers between the accounts and the credit cards, and so that's how people got charged, is their card got linked to a whole bunch of different accounts when they tried to subscribe. I don't know. Something weird. But I don't know. But I wasn't really that adversely affected, so I didn't care particularly. But if my bank account had done the trick that had happened to people, I would have been not pleased at all.
Mm-hmm.
You got any thoughts, Shamgar?
Not really. I mean, they goofed. It happens. Their response wasn't really that enthusiastic. I guess it could have been more so, but it wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess at this point, the thing I'd really like to see, and if I were Turbine, I would say, hey, we need to get a message out to the fans that we take their account security really seriously, and these are the kinds of security steps that we're taking, without actually revealing information that's going to be useful to some hacker, but to say, this is the sort of thing we're doing that's industry standards and is going to help protect your account. And that would be something. You'd at least recognize the concern and say what you're doing to address it.
A personal email would be great from them saying, hey, look, we realize in the light of the sort of accounting issues, even though they happened to a few, you were paying attention, and we wanted to just reassure you that everything will be fine. And then just outline. You don't have to be specific, just outline that we're going to take care of you, and that your accounts and your money is going to be safe. So, frequent contact early and often is better than too little too late.
Yeah. Yeah, it's better they hear about it from Turbine than they hear about it from mmorg.com, right? So I guess in a way you want to limit the number of people that know that there was something kind of that might be potentially scary, but in the internet age, everybody's going to find out pretty quickly, so you don't really have a choice. Better you be the ones to call it out.
This wasn't an exploit. You can't handle it the same way.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, not at all. It was not naughty players that yeah. So, oh well. Anyway, but let's move on to happier and more interesting times. Let's talk about what you guys had going on DDO Gamer this week.
Oh, we had a very happy week on DDO Gamer. Yay! Let's go. We're moving up to the positive again. Cranking it around to the plus side. I'm going to start slow, and I'm going to end with incredibly happy.
Sweet. Okay?
So starting slow, I want to remind everybody that even though the forums in MyDDO were extended until the 29th, depending on when you're listening to this, that's tomorrow. So probably MyDDO is gone by the time you're hearing this. One last time, I'll say this to everybody, that if you are a MyDDO blogger or want to blog about DDO in any way, you've got a couple of routes open to you. One is to contact to set up a blog of your own using WordPress or Blogger, or there's several sites that will step you through the process. It's really not as intimidating as it seems. And if you do that, please let me know on DDO Gamer, and also please let EvenNote know on our DDO so that she can add you to the big combined DDO stitched together blog feed that she's creating, which a good thing to think about is where that is. If you want to see the big stitched together blog roll, you're going to want to go to http://www. I know that part is surprising to everybody. The rest of it, the part that counts, meowmommy.net/ourDDO, and that's meowmommy, like a cat's mom, .net/ourDDO, And there you'll see where EvenNote has collected every blog she could find that's DDO related into one giant combined feed. I have a much smaller version of the same thing on my site. Also, if you don't want to go through the trouble of standing up your own site, that's totally cool too. You can still write about my DDO. Let me know by going to my facts page at DDOgamer/facts, and we'll get you set up. You can write on DDO Gamer without having to go through any setups. All right, enough about that. And you guys are all, and Shamgar, you're all over on DDO. You're on DDOcast now, right, on their site? So your blog is good?
Yeah, Anne set me up a blog over there, and everything's over there now, and it's getting ironed out slowly as I learn how to do more and more stuff myself.
Oh, very good. Very good. So, and I know that Anne's written a couple of articles on DDO Gamer, which was cool. I really liked seeing that. So the community as a whole is cooking right along. We're doing just fine without my DDO. All right, so moving on, other DDO Gamer posts this week of interest. I've created a new character to play on Thelanis, to play with some good friends that I've encountered who play on Thelanis. I haven't created any new characters in a while. I'd gotten out of the habit, which is a shame because I love it. That's my favorite part of the game too. So I came up with this concept of an arcane druid. So it'll be an elf, so it can pick up arcane archer and a druid. And I figure she's going to just be maximum range DPS. You know, she'll just throw out ice storms and earthquakes and produce flames and arrow the heck out of whatever survives that. She's kind of light on hit points, but I played her a little bit, had a good time with her. She's earned 8th level, but I haven't taken it yet because I'm trying to figure out how I can qualify for the Elven Arcane Archer enhancement without having to splash a caster class. You know, I mean, the Druid class seems castery enough, right? But it doesn't meet the pre-qualifications. I wonder if it will in the new system.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which qualifications are you trying to meet?
Well, there's 2 feats. Actually, there's 2 feats that are for sure, and then it's any one of, and you go through the list of one ofs, and it's enhancements that are only available to specific caster classes. So, you know, like energy of the wild and energy of the, you know, the hit point or the spell point increasing enhancements, or the feat mental toughness. So you can either, you know, add a 3rd feat, or you can splash a class that has access to an energy of the enhancement and you're in. Or you could take Wizard and then take Elven Arcanum, and that counts too. So, but again, then I had to splash a class to get to Elven Arcanum. So if you guys know of a way that I can do this without having to splash a class or waiting until I'm 9th level and taking a 3rd feat, mental toughness, love to hear it.
I could think of... Well, I would think mental toughness could be taken by druids, but I'm not sure on that.
I can.
Well, so you can take mental toughness. Do you need the feat slots, or do you just need the feat that you can take?
Well, you already have to take 2 other feats. So this would be the 3rd feat, which means I can't do it till 9th level.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think there's an escape. It's Arcane Archer's kind of feat intensive at low level to get it. It's really hard to make pure caster Arcane Archers. Even Wizard, you know, it's a fair bit of work, but they're the easiest. I almost always end up splashing like 2 Ranger levels to pick up some of the feats.
Yeah, well, I've thought of that too. Nothing, but I want to see if this works. So maybe I'll work till 9 and just take the mental toughness, and that'll solve that problem. I've thought about just splashing a level of Wizard. For some reason, I always enjoy doing that, even though this is a low hit point build to begin with. So whatever, I'll figure it out. So all right, if you guys think of an answer that works, let me know. I suspect there isn't one, and I already know the right way to go here. It's just I don't like it. Oh well, that's how rules work. Right?
You can take the Sorcerer Past Life feat. I think that also qualifies you.
Oh, instead of the mental toughness feat.
I think so. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, you just have to TR is all.
Yeah, no problem. And a quick feat, and yeah, there we go. All right. So anyway, there's a post on the DDO Gamer this week called 7 Cake Victory, and rather than going into detail, it's a really nice long story, kind of funny, but really what it boils down to is how many raised cakes will I waste before I remember, oh yeah, I can just release and recall and come back with full hit points and full spell points. And the answer to that question turns out to be 7.
Wow.
But oh well, nobody ever said I was actually good at this game, although I do so enjoy it.
Hey, you died less than I did when we played together. So.
Then had part 2 of the DDO Wiki discussion, and in this one, I asked each of the DDO Wiki editors, and I got a great response. There was 7 of them, I think, that sent me responses. And I asked them a series of questions, and last week I focused on ones about the history of the wiki, and this week I wanted to talk about how it affects them. So, questions like how did they get involved in the wiki, and how much time do they spend on the wiki versus playing in the game, right? So these guys can write. There's a reason they're all wiki people. They ended up with like 3,000 words in this article. I urge you to check it out. Meet your DDO Wiki editors. These guys are doing more for the game than anybody I know. I'm going to go through just one question. I don't know do we have enough time for me to
go for
read some stuff? All right. So one of the questions I asked them is, what is your favorite piece of work you've done for the wiki, and why is it your favorite? And I got 6 answers to that. Lord Silverhand said, I still crack up when I visit the Assault on Splinter Skull quest pages and see my increasingly annoyed snarkiness about going into the Outer Fortress again. Okay, I guess he went into the Outer Fortress too many times on that. Well, you do. You run the same quest over and over and over again. I don't know that's my favorite, but it's one that springs to mind most easily. Most of my edits are really either cleaning up or fleshing out, so kind of meh. An editor, and they call themselves sysops, by the way, not editor. A sysop named, which is an old school term. I don't know if you guys did BBS stuff or CompuServe or any of those old school things, but that's sysops were the original admins. Anyway, Nibelung says he has no favorites. He has some pet projects, but they usually involve an entire category: traps, bestiary, optional hunting, and not a single page. So he has no personal page that he can point to and say, hey, this one is mine and is awesome. All right, well, Nibelungen, the whole thing is yours. It's awesome. We love it. Shoemaker says, my favorite pieces of work for the wiki are some of the more complicated templates I've created. All right, so we're probably not going to be able to point to those and recognize them, but thank you for doing them. Yoko says there's no such thing as my favorite work, and Yoko he's a little bit more sour in his answers than some of the others. He might be, there's 7 sysops, 7 dwarfs. He might be the grumpy sysop. I'm not sure. Taro says it's so hard to choose. I've uploaded many items or item pics to the wiki, starring my toons or my guildmates modeling the items. All right, so he likes pictures of his characters. Very nice. And they are characters, not toons, Taro, just so you know. And Majol says, I can't pick one. It's a tie between all my pet projects. Quest maps, item enhancements project, and monster information project, because he's invested so much time into all of them. And Majol, once again, we want to thank you all, everybody, for the time you put into DDO Wiki. It's just the greatest thing ever. One thing, Shoemaker sent me. He took the words. I'm not going to read this, and I'm certainly not going to sing it. But he took part of his response. Oh, and you're all very fortunate about this, okay? There'll be no singing. But he took part of his response, and he wrote it to the tune of American Pie, and it's about, a couple hundred words. It's pretty funny. So check out the article.
Cool.
It's long, but it's absolutely worth it. These guys do great work, and I don't know what else to say about it other than, thank you very much, DDO Wiki Sysops. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed the article that I wrote about you. One more article I wanted to talk about. It'll only take a minute, but I got engaged last week, and I wrote about that. And I'm very excited about it. So,
congratulations!
Thank you. I know it's not DDO related, but it's DDO gamer related, and I'm very excited.
Hey, anything that means gamers marrying other gamers is like a good thing.
I agree. Our DNA needs to just take over the world. We need to all be gamers. So, so that was DDO Gamer for the week. It ended on a high note. I got engaged.
Fantastic. Did you get her a bouquet of flowers in the game?
I did get her a box of chocolates.
Oh, very good. Excellent. Cool.
Good job. Yay!
Hey, Shamgar, why don't you tell us a little bit about the latest building block series since we got you on?
Oh, yeah. So I've been working on stats. So just kind of going through each of the stats. They're kind of meant to be a little amusing in a sort of a dry way, but they kind of go through what's the stat represent, what's it actually do for you in game, what kind of feats are associated with them, and then kind of a little bit of a section on like how much should you have. So I think I just put up intelligence last week. So there's 2 more, wisdom and charisma, and then I'll be moving on to, I think, skills. It be the same format of this is what it's supposed to represent, this is what it actually does in the game, stuff like that. Yeah,
cool. I've been enjoying the series. I think it's they're really good for new players or people who are not deeply ingrained in D&D and the traditional stats and all that kind of stuff. So pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's the stuff. That's kind of where building blocks are supposed to be. Is kind of look at the individual kind of bits of building a character and look at those. So yeah.
Cool. Fantastic. Let's see. No segments this week, although unfortunately we have sort of a guest limit on the show. Rebus the Rogue was going to come on and do a top 10, so we're going to try and get that in an upcoming show. So yeah, he should be on and to entertain us. That should be fun. Let's do the what you been doing part of the show, where we talk about what we've been playing in DDO. Me a bit. We did both Anne and Jeff and I got together to try and record a special DDOcast episode. The recording did not come out all that great, but we had a good time. So we may have to try it again sometime in order to get that sort of quote-unquote show put together. And I played a surly dwarf who insulted Jeff's vegetarian elf, and tried to get a word in edgewise between the two of us.
Hard. You guys are pretty active.
Yeah, it's tough to think of interesting things to say when you're running quests that you've done 1,000 times, because you don't really need to.
There's a lever. What does this lever do?
String. Yeah, I mean, I mostly resorted to insulting everybody else. That was apparently what my dwarf character was all about. And then when we really started to run dry, I just brought up the DDOcast jokes note file and started reading jokes to everybody. That was amusing for a while too. And then we all just got really sleepy. Finished off Delirious 2 in a mode of silence.
Not another one.
And the jokes seemed to just get worse and worse as the night went on. So.
And not always worse in a good way either.
No, kind of painful. Some of them were actually very funny, so there's definitely some good ones in the file, but there are also some real groaners in there. Yeah. But I had a good time. That was kind of a fun change of pace for playing DDO. Also did a bit of raiding with our guild. We did Fall of Truth, and I need to qualify some more characters for it. So while they were doing their second run of Fall for Truth, I was running my wizard, my pale master around Giant Hold, trying to do those things. I will admit I ran some quests on epic casual, just to get it done as fast as possible. Yeah, Shamgar's shaking his head. Joe. I know, it's pretty terrible. And epic casual is mind-numbingly easy. I mean, there really is no challenge.
When you say epic casual, do you mean epic hard? Or do you mean actually epic casual?
I mean actual epic casual, all the way down the dial. The kiddie pool. I swear, I mean, if I ran the quests on normal, that might be about as challenging as epic casual. They're really pretty easy. So, yeah, pretty sad. Yeah. But if you just want to run it real fast, that's it. He does get the job done. So I cruise through. Yeah, normally I haven't, and I think this is the first time I've ever run anything on epic casual. I haven't tried it before, so. But yeah, the XP still isn't bad. It's it's getting quite a bit for some of that stuff. So it's like, all right, I'll take it. Anyway, I don't know, Anne, let's do you next.
Well, I ran a bunch of stuff with you. Fall of Truth with the raid on the groups, and then of course role playing quotes. I'm horrible at role playing in DDO. I'm more of a beer and pretzels kind of gal. It's like, yeah, oh, whatever. Kind of a role play I'll try, but it just doesn't work out for me very well. But what else? Wednesday night I've started playing with a static group on our TRs, but I wasn't able to get my TR ready in time, so I just made a DPS character because that's what they needed, and I'm playing that, and it's actually pretty fun. It's been a long while since I've done these extra lobby quests. Ever since I've gotten VIP and I can like leave the boat at level 7, so it's been a long while since I've actually run these marketplace quests or the harbor quests at all. So it's an interesting experience, especially when I get the loot for the new augment slots, the upgraded loot for that area. So it's been really interesting looking through what all kinds of lobby stuff are available now. So that's what I've been up to.
Yeah, that was fun. I actually joined in that as well. I forgot. And, they needed a trapper, so I made Trappy McTrap of Trapsville, the Warforged rogue artificer, with no purpose other than to be a guy who does traps. But because I didn't have the gear and they were running elites, I blew up a few boxes, so much to my shame.
Yeah, mine was a barbarian rogue, and I was failing heartily at the roguish part. But I was doing quite well in the barbarian part. I named her Xanarchist, the half Xanarchist, the half-orc female barbarian kind of rogue character. Yeah.
Evasion barbarian.
Evasion barbarian. It's not a rogue at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, not that kind of rogue. I have an evasion barbarian too. People say, well, why don't you get the doors? Like, no, I'm just not that kind of rogue. Sadly, though, I mean it.
You would get the doors if the game lets you bash them in.
Exactly.
That's right.
That is correct. Yeah.
Let's see. How about you, Jeff?
Well, I had a lot of fun Thursday night playing on Thelanis with you two. That was enjoyable. Although the role play was interesting. I mean, I knew we were getting together to play, but I didn't know we were getting together to role play, and I rolled up a girl. So, oh yay! I brought a girl to the role playing session.
I was so disappointed when you didn't talk in a falsetto voice.
Well, maybe next time.
I was crying. It's like, oh.
Hey, let's not discriminate. Not all women speak in falsetto voices. Some are very gruff and have very deep bass voices.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with. Yeah, she's got.
Well, as my character pointed out, when it comes to elves, you can't really tell the difference anyway. So who cares?
Oh, jeez.
That coming from a dwarf?
Sense is a dump stat for dwarfs. That's why it's coming from the dwarf. Oh, and see, this is what you could all be looking forward to for 3 hours if the video had only worked.
Yeah, well, the video was great. The audio, maybe not.
Or the audio, I mean.
The video was awesome. We die a couple times. We run around with our heads cut off. It was awesome. The closest thing I got to role playing was part of her worship. She was the cleric monk. Part of her pugilist worship was to smash barrels and crates.
Nice. So other things, I got a level on my TR. So she's sitting at level 18 and about ready to start running 16s on Elite. So this is the first life where I've been that disciplined. I mean, she hasn't even been in the Veil yet. So that's working out pretty well. The other thing I've been doing is just trying to figure out this shard auction thing. So I've managed to work my way. Basically, anything that normally I deconstruct vendor trash and I put anything that might not be vendor trash on the auction house and see if it sells. And instead, I've been putting it on the shard exchange to see if it sells. And some of it does, especially the augments seem to go pretty well. Decent hand wraps and kopeshes are always in demand. Named items, the new named items that have slots on them, they seem to go okay. Some are more very desirable than others, obviously. And I've gotten myself up to about 250 shards. So I started looking for stuff to buy, and people are listing everything for 3. So, I picked up a spider spun robe for my 23rd level caster and then a caparison for an epic elite. I think it's an epic elite. Is that right? Can you get a comparison epic elite? Anyway,
you're talking about the Motu armors. They don't have epic elite version. Right. It's just one version.
Okay, but I got it for 3, which is the same amount that I earned by selling a diamond of +1 something, +1 wisdom or something. So basically, I traded a to me complete junk item for the spider spun robe. That's kind of cool. So. Yeah. I'm not going to pretend I figured it out, but I'm up to 250, so I guess I'm getting something out of it.
Can people make any money selling something for 3 shards? I thought the listing fee is 5.
I think you would make 1 shard because the listing fee is 1. If it's not bound to character, the listing fee is 1, and then they would take 1 out because that'd be 30%, and then you'd have one left over.
Oh, okay. I guess I've only tried to sell the bounty character stuff, so.
Yeah, and that stuff. Well, it depends. If it's bin bound, it starts as a minimum of 5, I think. Is that right?
Yeah.
So, anyway,
I want to say 15, but I'm not sure on that.
I think the serious shard dealers are already popping around stuff for $300 to $500 a piece. But I'm not going to buy shards. So, but I am occasionally going to find something I want to buy with shards. So I'm going to have to earn them somehow.
Yeah, well, that's pretty cool. I should get on that gravy train. I have not tried it.
That gravy train as soon as I roll 100 on the daily dice and get my shards.
Yeah. The starting fee.
I don't know if you're gonna get. I think you might get something better than shards on 100. I've gotten some pretty decent stuff.
Oh yeah.
On my daily dice.
Yeah.
I think one of my guildies actually got a +4 tome.
Oh wow.
Off the free one. Yeah.
Wow.
Lucky punk.
Yeah, I did roll 100 once, but I just got some shards.
I got an excellent experience elixir off of 100, I think.
I think the best thing I've gotten so far is, and I've gotten it twice now, is greater mnemonic enhancers on my warrior.
I had a pretty good streak going. In like 5 or 6 rolls, I got the excellent XP potion, a major XP potion, and like a minor, and I think another major or something. I don't know. I was just getting like a lot of actually decent stuff for a week.
Yeah, I do like the daily dice. It's kind of fun. I'm like, oh, hey, I just logged in. I haven't done this yet. Bink, hey, I got something. Not always something great, but something. So
it was really handy when I was starting a brand new character on Thalanus. Click 1,000 plat. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, there I go. I can go buy everything I need to start with that.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice little fun feature, I think. How about you, Shamgar? What you been up to?
Not a whole lot. I've been, as you can see, I've had some internet problems this week, so that's been a bit of thing. And this thing called the sun is here in Seattle this week. I've been outside a lot.
Oh, is that what they call that thing?
Yeah, I think I'm up to my quota for sunshine for May, so I'm doing pretty good. But I got my my current leveling project up to 18 last night. Managed to hit Litany farming during the XP boost. So that was nice. Got some raids going on later tonight, so I'll be hitting that up.
Cool.
I didn't quite do as good as I did last time. A couple times ago, I was doing my Sork life, and when I hit Shadow Crypt time, there was like a 25% XP boost. And then when I hit Litany, there was like a 30% boost, or vice versa, or something like that. But it like shot me right up.
Yummy. Yeah, I do like. Jeez, I do like it when they have the XP boosts. That's always my favorite weekly bonus. Good times. Cool. Okay, let's see. Community news. DDO Cocktail Hour, episode 65. Show me the money. We got some pretty cool Clankenbeard art on there showing Samus as a comic book villain character that I thought was pretty neat.
Very nice.
Yeah, lots to talk about. DDO economy on there in the auction house. They really got into making money and how much money they have on their characters and their strategies for that. So I thought that was cool. I'm in the never really have all that much because I always spend it category. And I don't know, it was just a fun show. I enjoyed it, as always. So definitely worth checking it out if you haven't yet. Any of you guys listen to it?
Yes. Yeah, I had a good time. They're getting a bit scatological, but that's okay.
Yeah, they kind of decided to turn off the filter, as it were, and just go for broke.
Yeah, I think they're stuck in, what is it? Is it Freud's anal phase or Jung's? I don't remember. But in theory, you grow out of that sometime around age 5. So any minute now, Samus will catch up.
You mean so like in 3 years?
More
I
like
haven't listened to it, but actually I was going to mention, Jeff was talking about shards earlier. I'm up to about 430 shards.
No, nice.
On mine without buying any, but that's mostly on the strength of a couple high road things I sold.
Gotcha.
Very nice.
Yeah, those are pretty nice.
But I'm moving up the ladder, getting a few things sold.
Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, I think I've sold. Actually, I put a bunch of stuff up and none of it ever sells. So I guess I don't have a very good pulse on what people want to buy.
There's a bunch of stuff that didn't really sell. I mean, I sold 2 items for 200 shards, and I got 120 each out of those. So that's most of the way up there. But I've definitely been able to sell some stuff.
Yeah, I think it's kind of neat. Generally speaking, in the game, seems to be pretty well received. There are people who are very happy to be able to buy some shards and get some gear that way, and other people that are happy to be able to use the shard services by just selling items that they normally wouldn't do much with. So, kind of neat.
Especially the bounce stuff. I mean, you can't. Otherwise, you're just going to sell it for plat, which you don't need, or let it rot in your bank, or trash it. So.
Yeah, this has worked out pretty good, and I'm sure it's done pretty well for Turbine as well. Let's see, DDO Chronicle this week. Most of the DDO Chronicle was everybody who's on this show. They talked about Shamgar's Building Blocks 29, Stats 5, Int. They talked about DDOcast. They talked about DDO Gamer. So highlighted our little role-playing session we did. Pretty nice. Much appreciated, DDO Chronicle. Things that are not already on the show. Longshot ponders the epic vault of Night Raid in a new blog post. And I went and read through that. It was actually pretty cool. It's not so much like a guide to how to do it or anything. It's just somebody's experience doing it for the first time with a guild, as where usually they had to do it in a pickup group or by themselves, with a small party, and how different it is running with a full team of people that take the game pretty seriously. So he was very happy, and also some really nice screenshots from Vault of Night, which is quite a beautiful spot if you stop and look around. Usually when you're doing the raid, you're kind of focused inward, but if you look outward, it's a pretty cool quest, the way it looks and the way it works.
It's one of those places that when you get there the first time, you remember it because it's one of their better raid zones too. Just really beautiful little area to be in.
Yeah, and the mechanics of it are actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just going to point out that Longshotist, the guy who wrote that article, I think he's a really good writer. I enjoy reading he's got some non-DDO related stuff. I read that too. I think he's a good writer.
Cool. Yeah, I have not seen his blog before, but it was neat checking it out. The Chronicle comment for the week was, what would be more useful in real life, to fly or to teleport? So as usual, we will ask our panelists. We'll start with Shamgar, flying or teleporting?
Yes. How fast can you fly? Because I'm a little hesitant to say teleporting, because there's always that chance that you could end up in the sky.
Right.
And if you can't fly, you're in trouble. So I think I'm going to go safe and go with flying.
Yeah. In real life, the teleporting thing could be the teleporting error could be a serious problem. 5%.
Unless you're teleporting with a parachute every time.
Yeah, exactly. Teleport airbags. Yeah, definitely concerned. Jeff?
I think I got to go with teleport. I think so. I mean, I have some just horrible meetings at work, and I could entirely miss them. People would hardly even know. Show up for the last 5 minutes. I didn't come in the door. Oh, Jeff's been here the whole time. Nice. That'd be so useful. Oh, and I have an hour and 15-minute commute, so yes, definitely teleport.
Yeah, I think I'm going with teleport for the sheer usefulness of it. And I suppose if you do pop up in the air, you could just teleport again, since you just have to gotta have those.
How long's your cooldown timer?
Yeah, we do. Better make sure it's way up in the air. Well, I remember in the old game you could teleport down into the ground, and then you're just playing dead.
Yeah,
it was never too hot. Dangerous spell in those days. How about you, Darlin? Which one would you take?
Question number 1 is, which version of teleport? Is it like the SRD D20 kind of, or the old school, D&D basic teleport?
I don't know. I'm thinking high level teleport without air, maybe. Just straight up pop.
Oh, okay. All right. So I would probably choose teleport. At most, that you could get if it was. I'm going to go on the SRD rules, and that's you get at most a 7% failure chance, and no failure chance if you are very familiar with where you're going.
Right.
So
yeah, there's that.
So I'm that all the way. And even if it's someplace exotic, I might take the 7% chance just because I've never been there before.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I think for certain professions, fly makes a lot of sense. If you work on the outside of buildings or that sort of thing.
Window washer.
Yeah, teleporting is kind of nice, but maybe not going to save your life. That's where the flying is always going to be real handy. So I can see it, and it'd certainly be little more fun in many ways.
Mhm.
But the question was useful, and I think teleport super useful.
If you're doing sports or something, that could be flying can be useful there.
Yeah, that would change things a little bit. Teleport to like,
Yeah, it's like,
another
oh.
goal. What do you
Yeah, try to block this, buddy.
I don't know. Having teleports and flyers in a football game may be pretty exciting.
Be pretty high scoring.
Yeah. They definitely have to change the rules in some way.
Make the last 10 yards an anti-magic zone. Get a beholder on either end.
Yeah. That sounds like fun. I have some PvP I could get behind. All right, and kind of end of the show here. We got Lightning Post, which I'll go over. Hannessy the Halfling Assassin writes into us, and he's talking a little bit about the rogue lines. So I thought I'd read that since we hadn't covered it too much. It says, anyhow, loose research on the Rogue Assassin. I've been onto Lamania to try the Rogue enhancements. At first glance, the system seems easier to manage, but maybe because I have disabled the Epic Destinies, or I've dabbled in the Epic Destinies. When I heard about the new system, I guessed it would be the same, just visually easier. Clearly not, as your research into clerics showed last week. There are the usual sneak and stealth, etc. together, dex and int bonus, etc. But the additions. From the start, Knife in the Darkness gives rogue proficiency with kukris and the ability to use dexterity to hit with kukris and daggers. This will allow low level to avoid taking the finesse feat, and at third level, you can add your dex bonus to damage with kukris and daggers.
Sweet.
There's the special attacks. Yeah, that's pretty neat, I think. Special attacks bleed them out, which will add flavor to rogue melee as opposed to fighter using clickies. Rogue assassinate remains. Not sure about the numbers, but there is a cooldown at level 4 called Execute, which does a ton of damage to mobs below 20% hit points. There is a choice of poison attacks, probably like Assassin Prestige level 2, ? You can choose different rogue levels, but you cannot see what they are, ? Yeah, because a lot of the enhancements, you have to try to take them before you can see what the different options are. Yeah, which is one downside on the transparency of the current system. You're like, it says, you get some benefits, and you don't know what they are until you can click on it. It all seems very good apart from the over-reliance on the use of kukri or dagger, perhaps. This seems a better fit for Assassin, but myself, sure, 1,000 other rogues have invested time in many other weapons. In my case, rapiers. I'm not sure if this change will be a help or a hindrance. Is the question of strength versus intelligence versus dex assassin over? ? Hope this could be vaguely useful if more knowledgeable roguester hadn't already researched for you. Nope, nobody else had given us info, so that.
I think one of those enhancements actually lets you do your dex modifier with something that applies to the weapon finesse feat.
I think so.
If you have, you might have to have weapon finesse for that, but I'm not sure. But I think it applies to more than just daggers and kukris, so long as you have the right stuff.
Yeah.
Well, the daggers.
The
dagger is such an awful weapon. It's just an awful weapon. I mean,
yeah.
There's some really good ones out there, actually. The Agony dagger from Caught in the Web is actually a pretty beefy dagger.
Yeah, and kukris are actually pretty good. I don't have any characters that use them. I may after this update eventually goes through, but I have collected a few kukris because on paper they're pretty good weapons. It's just that since rogues don't get proficiency with them and nobody else is likely to use them, you don't end up using them a lot. But I've saved a few.
They're basically just a beefier dagger, right?
Yeah, they have an expanded crit range.
Yeah, they're a smaller scimitar. So they have the 18, 19, 20 times 2 crit range.
Yeah. Right, but so it's one more crit range than a dagger, but it's like the same base die.
It's really only it's 1 point on average, 1 point less than a rapier, so only one before modifiers, obviously.
Yeah. So they're not bad. And adding in dex damage definitely be helpful. I don't know if that's on top of strength or instead of, but
I think it's instead of.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any. I'm trying to think if there's any named kukris. I think the midnight thing, from the Sentinels chain isn't. I think that's
Midnight
a kukri,
Greetings.
but yeah, I think that's a kukri, but it's the one I can think of.
Yeah, and that was something that people build stealth builds for because it does that effect by itself. So in a way, that makes the item less valuable since it'll be easily readable for other characters. I do have a halfling dex-based rogue, low level, like level 7, that I built just because I wanted a finesse rogue of some kind. This pure sneak attack kind of a character. So that'll be good for them.
There's a lot of those in my guild. A lot of those in my guild.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're halfling only,
Yeah.
but they're all on rapiers. A few of them are on kopeshes.
Yeah, most of my rogues are either ranged or strength-based kind of character. Like the rogue I played with us, he's actually supposed to be a rogue tank eventually, like a fighter rogue, and high armor class. But I was demonstrating why not having a resistance item and running elite quests and trying to do the traps has its hazards. Like, fail a save, pretty much dead. Poor little guy. Oh well. Final news. Nothing new on the Gen Con front. We will be at Gen Con. We will be having a good time there. We will have an event. We don't know exactly when it is. It's probably Friday evening. Or Friday afternoon. That's what we requested. But other than that, we don't have any new updates. I don't know. Maybe I'll perform a kobold rap there. I have to perform a kobold rap for another event. A friend of mine was like, "You need to come do your kobold rap for us." I'm like, really? Like live? I'm like, yeah. Yeah, okay, sure.
What rhymes with Yark?
Oh,
Dark. Stark.
Bark.
So yeah, pretty fun.
Mark.
And what else? Next week's show, we are going to an HP Lovecraft Film Festival, so it will not occur during the weekend. We'll probably try to do it on Monday when we get back. Maybe it might get pushed to Tuesday. You never know. We'll see how we feel. But we'll do one next week. It just won't be at the usual time, so keep an eye out. It might just be recorded only. We'll see.
And remember, if you want to help support our little get-together, shop at stanxmart.com and then buy our gaming stuff, you might find something fun. Sure. A game, even. Dual purpose. Help me get a game. There you go.
Yeah. Don't buy stuff if you don't want the stuff, but
yeah,
there's
of
some
course.
good stuff.
But just still, it's like if you want to find something, hey, great.
No.
Purpose.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if people want it. Go out and buy it.
Yeah.
I told you to. Go buy it all now.
All right.
You can always put it in a closet. Maybe you'll enjoy it.
There you go.
Maybe your kids will enjoy it 20 years from now. Who knows?
Go buy it and then sell it at a higher rate at your garage sale.
There you go.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah.
Cool. Anybody else got last-minute things before we check out for today?
PAX tickets went on sale. They're sold out, but they went on
Yeah,
sale.
they're gone. They were there. We got some. We are definitely going to PAX this year, so we'll be there, and we'll do our usual interviews and talking to whatever devs happen to show up. Hopefully Turbine will do another party. Those will be pretty fun. So we shall see. But
I'll
looking
at
forward
least
to it.
be at the party if they have one.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Yeah, because you don't need tickets to the show. You just have to get tickets from them. And that's actually much easier, generally speaking.
Yeah, well, they do 6 hours. They were gone.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It took almost no time at all. I mean, it was minutes before the regular 3-day passes were gone. Then you had to cherry pick. We had to actually buy an individual pass for each day. It's like 4 days this year instead of 3. So a little pricey, but oh well. Do what you got to do. All right, well, I think that'll be it for today's show. Big thanks to Anne and Jeff for coming on, and big thanks to all our contributors, Shamgar. And also want to give a shout-out to Ludwig and to Rebus the Rogue. There we go. I can remember everybody's name. So thanks to you guys. And again, congratulations, Jeff, on finding yourself a gamer wife. Pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Definitely the best news of the week. All right. Many thanks to our fine listeners out there. And, be a contributor of the show. If you got anything to add in, just send us an email with what you might want to talk about or any opinion you have about anything. And we're happy to share it with our listeners. Just email us at DDOcast@gmail.com. And despite my kvetching this week, big thanks to Turbine, Wizards of the Coast, and all our friends there who work hard to make cool games. Until next time, may all your attack rolls be crits, your chess level appropriate, have fun, and don't forget to apologize every once in a while.
I'm sorry.